I never thought my in-laws would play such a pivotal role in my life. When Anna and I got married, her father Thomas was our biggest supporter, investing in our marketing agency and believing in our vision. But her mother Patricia always looked at me sideways. I never imagined my mother-in-law would convince my father-in-law to pull the financial rug from under us, thinking it would break us. Before I share how my mother-in-law's plan to see us fail backfired spectacularly, let me know where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button if you've ever had to prove someone wrong. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Chicago with parents who worked hard to make ends meet. My dad was a postal worker, and my mom taught at the local elementary school. They instilled in me a strong work ethic and the belief that with dedication I could achieve anything I set my mind to. After earning my business degree from Northwestern University, I knew I wanted to build something of my own rather than climb the corporate ladder. My entrepreneurial dreams were always clear to me. I wanted to create a marketing agency that focused on helping small businesses compete against larger corporations. I believed that with the right strategy, even the smallest company could make a big impact in their industry. This passion drove me through countless late nights researching marketing trends and developing innovative strategies. I met Anna at a business conference in downtown Chicago. She was representing her father's investment firm, and I was there networking and trying to make connections for a small freelance marketing business I had started. Anna stood out immediately, not just because of her striking appearance, but because of her sharp business acumen. During a panel discussion, she asked questions that showed she really understood the challenges small businesses faced in the digital age. We connected over coffee afterward, and our conversation flowed effortlessly from business strategies to personal goals. Anna had a marketing background herself and shared my vision of helping smaller companies thrive. There was an immediate spark between us that went beyond professional interest. Her intelligence, confidence, and kind heart captivated me from the start. Our romance developed quickly. Within 6 months, we were inseparable, spending every weekend together exploring Chicago or brainstorming business ideas. When I proposed after a year of dating, Anna said yes without hesitation. The wedding planning, however, gave me my first real glimpse into the dynamics of Anna's family, particularly her mother, Patricia. While Anna's father, Thomas, embraced me from the beginning, Patricia always maintained a certain distance. She was polite but reserved, often making subtle comments about my background or questioning my career prospects. During our engagement dinner, I overheard her asking Anna if she was sure about marrying someone still trying to establish himself. Despite Patricia's subtle disapproval, we had a beautiful wedding with Thomas, giving a heartfelt toast about welcoming me into their family. Anna came from wealth that I had never experienced. Her father, Thomas, had built a successful investment firm from the ground up, and had always taught Anna the value of supporting entrepreneurship. When Anna and I shared our business plan for a boutique marketing agency focused on innovative digital strategies, Thomas saw potential in our idea. He offered to invest in our startup as a business loan with favorable terms, believing in both our expertise and our passion. With Thomas's initial investment, we were able to rent a small office space in a trendy part of Chicago and hire 2 talented graphic designers and a content specialist. Our boutique marketing agency, Horizon Digital, was born. We focused on providing personalized marketing solutions that the bigger agencies often overlooked. Our approach resonated with many small to medium-sized businesses, and within 6 months we had a growing client list and were already breaking even on monthly expenses. The early success of Horizon Digital brought Anna and me tremendous joy. We worked side by side, combining her analytical skills with my creative approach. Our complementary strengths made us an effective team both in business and in marriage. We celebrated every new client with a special dinner and reinvested most of our profits back into the company. Those first few months were exhausting but exhilarating as we watched our dream take shape. About 8 months after we launched, Patricia paid her first visit to our office. I had spent the morning making sure everything looked professional and impressive, hoping to finally win her approval. As she walked through the door, her eyes scanned every corner of our space, and I could see her making mental notes. "This is quaint," she said, running her finger along our conference table. "Smaller than I expected for a company with Thomas's investment, but I suppose you have to start somewhere." Throughout the tour, she offered similar backhanded compliments. She praised our logo, but wondered if it was too modern for older clients. She acknowledged our growing client list, but questioned whether they would remain loyal long-term. Every compliment came with a subtle dig that left me feeling inadequate despite our objective success. In stark contrast, when Thomas visited the following week, his enthusiasm was genuine. He asked thoughtful questions about our strategies, showed interest in our clients' success stories, and offered valuable advice based on his own entrepreneurial journey. After reviewing our quarterly numbers, he clapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're doing exactly what I hoped you would, Skylar. You're building something with real value." That contrast became even clearer during a family dinner at their home the following month. While helping Anna's mother in the kitchen, I overheard Patricia talking to Thomas in the adjacent study. "I just worry that Skylar is using Anna for connections and money," she said in a hushed tone. "He had nothing before he met her, and suddenly he has access to your network and your money. Don't you find that suspicious?" Before Thomas could respond, Anna walked into the room. She had apparently overheard as well, and the color had drained from her face. "Mom, how dare you say that about my husband?" she said firmly. "Skylar works harder than anyone I know, and this business is succeeding because of his talent and dedication, not because of Dad's connections." The confrontation led to a tense dinner, but Patricia eventually apologized, claiming she was just being protective. Thomas mediated the situation, and we reached a temporary peace. But I could tell from the look in Patricia's eyes that she still viewed me as an outsider who had somehow tricked my way into their family. As our business grew, we faced the typical challenges of a scaling company. Cash flow management became more complex, client expectations increased, and competition in the digital marketing space intensified. During these challenges, Thomas proved to be an invaluable mentor. He connected us with a financial advisor who helped us structure our growing business more efficiently and introduced us to potential clients in his network who needed marketing services. By our second year, Horizon Digital had grown to a team of 12. We had moved to a larger office space and expanded our services to include video marketing and advanced analytics. Our client base had more than doubled, and we were working with several well-known local businesses and even a few national brands. Anna and I were putting in long hours, but the results were worth it. Our reputation for delivering measurable results for our clients was spreading. As our success grew, so did Patricia's interference in both our business and personal lives. She began dropping by the office unannounced, offering unsolicited advice to our employees. At family gatherings, she would question our business decisions in front of others, creating uncomfortable situations. She suggested we were growing too quickly or not quickly enough, that our prices were too high or too low, that we should focus on different types of clients. The tension between us built with each interaction. I tried to remain respectful and professional, understanding that she was Anna's mother and an important part of our lives. But her constant criticism and interference began to wear on me. Anna noticed as well and tried to establish boundaries with her mother, but Patricia was skilled at ignoring them or making Anna feel guilty for creating distance. Despite these family tensions, Horizon Digital continued to thrive, and Anna and I grew even closer as partners in both life and business. Little did we know that Patricia was just waiting for the right moment to undermine everything we had built. The economic downturn hit Chicago businesses hard, and we started feeling the effects at Horizon Digital. Several of our clients reduced their marketing budgets, and a few went out of business altogether. For the first time since our launch, we faced serious cash flow issues. After careful consideration and reviewing our financials with our accountant, Anna and I decided to approach Thomas about additional investment to help us weather the storm. We prepared a detailed presentation showing our previous growth, current challenges, and strategy for recovery. When we presented it to Thomas over dinner at their house, he seemed impressed with our transparency and forward-thinking approach. "This is exactly how smart business owners handle economic challenges," he said, nodding approvingly. "You identified the problem early, you have a solid plan to address it, and you are being proactive rather than waiting until you are in crisis mode. Let us schedule a meeting next week to finalize the details of the additional investment." I felt enormous relief at his response. With Thomas's support, we could maintain our staff and continue serving our remaining clients while actively pursuing new business. The additional runway would give us time to adapt our services to the changing market. A week later, we were invited to another family dinner before our scheduled meeting with Thomas. Throughout the evening, Patricia asked pointed questions about our business finances. "How much have you had to dip into your personal savings?" she asked while passing the potatoes. "I hope you have been putting money aside instead of spending everything on that downtown condo." Actually, we have been very careful with our finances, Anna replied tensely. We always maintain a personal emergency fund separate from the business. Well, that is smart, Patricia said with a tight smile. Because you never know when you might need to stand on your own 2 feet. The comment seemed odd at the time, but I brushed it off as Patricia being her usual judgmental self. The next morning, however, we received a brief email from Thomas's assistant saying he needed to cancel our investment meeting and would be in touch later. 3 anxious days passed with no word from Thomas. Then Anna received a call from her father that changed everything. I watched her face fall as she listened occasionally, trying to interject but getting cut off. When she finally hung up, she looked stunned. My father is withdrawing all financial support from Horizon, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He is calling in our original loan with 30 days' notice as per the agreement. What? Why would he do that after he just agreed to help us? I asked in disbelief. Anna sank into a chair, still holding her phone. My mother convinced him that you are financially irresponsible. She told him we have been mismanaging the business and using company funds for personal expenses. She said if he gives us more money, it will just be throwing good money after bad. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. But that is completely untrue. We have been transparent with every dollar. Your father has seen all our financial reports. Anna's next words made the betrayal even clearer. She showed him doctored financial records, Skylar. She somehow got access to our reports and altered them to make it look like we have been embezzling from our own company. The next day, Anna confronted her father directly. I sat next to her during the video call, watching Thomas's face as Anna desperately tried to convince him of the truth. Dad, look at the original reports we sent you last quarter, she pleaded. Compare them to what Mom showed you. You will see they have been altered. Thomas looked uncomfortable but unmoved. Anna, your mother had your financial advisor review these documents. He confirmed there are discrepancies that suggest personal funds being mixed with business accounts. I cannot in good conscience invest more money into a business that is being mismanaged. That is not our financial advisor, Anna said, her voice rising. Our advisor is Janet Miller. Who did Mom have review these documents? Thomas paused. Some colleague of hers from the country club. He works in finance. I felt a flare of anger. Thomas, we have never misused business funds. We can prove it if you give us the chance. Please do not make this decision based on manipulated information. But Thomas had made up his mind. The loan was being called in, and there would be no additional investment. We had 30 days to either repay the substantial remaining balance or face potential legal action. It was clear that Patricia had poisoned Thomas against us, and he was choosing to believe her over his own daughter. The following day, Patricia herself showed up at our office. She walked in without an appointment, looking around with an air of superiority. I just wanted to see how you two are doing, she said, with fake concern. Thomas told me about your financial situation. Such a shame things are not working out. They were working out just fine until you interfered, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. She raised an eyebrow. I simply showed Thomas the truth. If you cannot manage a business properly, perhaps it is time to admit defeat. You could probably still sell while you have some clients left. I know several people who might be interested in acquiring your client list, even if the business itself is failing. After she left, Anna broke down in tears. She has been waiting for this moment. She has always wanted to prove that you are not good enough, that we cannot succeed without their constant support. The financial crisis intensified over the following weeks. Without Thomas's support and facing the repayment of the loan, we struggled to meet payroll. We began having difficult conversations about potential layoffs. Some of our clients sensed trouble and began considering other agencies. Each day brought a new challenge that pushed us closer to the brink of failure. I spent sleepless nights staring at the ceiling, questioning my abilities as a business owner and provider. Had I been overconfident? Had I taken on too much too quickly? The weight of potentially failing not just myself but our employees and Anna felt crushing. For the first time since starting our business, I wondered if Patricia had been right all along, if I was not cut out for this level of responsibility. Through it all, Anna remained my rock. Despite the strain this situation put on her relationship with her parents, she never wavered in her support. She reminded me daily of what we had built together and of my strengths as a business leader. Her faith in me kept me going when I might otherwise have given up. About 2 weeks after Thomas's decision, we attended a family birthday party for Anna's cousin. I tried to avoid Patricia, but she seemed to seek me out. At one point, I overheard her talking to a family friend near the bar. "It is unfortunate about Anna's business," she said loudly enough for me to hear. But I warned her about marrying a gold digger. At least now Thomas sees the truth. Her words stung, but they also ignited something in me, a determination to prove her wrong. Later that night, as Anna and I drove home in silence, I made a decision. I would not let Patricia win. I would not let her destroy what we had built. The next day, we made the painful decision to downsize our office space. We negotiated an early termination of our lease and began looking for a much smaller, more affordable location. We also had to let go of 3 team members, one of the hardest things I have ever had to do as a business owner. Each conversation felt like a personal failure, even though our employees were understanding of the situation. That evening, Anna and I sat on the floor of our half-packed office takeout containers between us, discussing whether we should just give up. The weight of Patricia's manipulation, the loss of Thomas's support, and the daily struggles of keeping the business afloat felt overwhelming. "Maybe we should just sell while we can still get something for the business," Anna said quietly, tears in her eyes. "Start over with something smaller, something that does not require outside investment." I looked around at the office we had built with so much hope and hard work. The thought of giving it up because of Patricia's schemes made something shift inside me. "No," I said firmly. "We are not going to let your mother win. This is our dream and we are going to fight for it. We can do this, Anna. Together." That night marked the lowest point of our journey, but it was also the moment everything began to change. As I drove home that night, a moment of clarity washed over me. I had been so focused on the betrayal that I had lost sight of what really mattered, proving Patricia wrong, not through anger or resentment, but through success. The best revenge would not be confrontation, but building something so successful that her manipulation would be revealed for what it was, an attempt to control her daughter and undermine someone she saw as an outsider. The next morning, Anna and I sat down at our kitchen table with fresh coffee and a new perspective. We needed to completely rethink our business model to survive without Thomas's financial support. "What if we pivot to focus almost exclusively on digital services?" I suggested. "We could drastically reduce our overhead costs by eliminating the need for physical deliverables and large office space." Anna nodded enthusiastically. "And we could introduce a new pricing structure based more on performance metrics rather than flat fees. If we deliver results, we get paid more. It aligns our success directly with our clients' success." We spent the entire weekend developing a new business strategy. We would focus on high-margin digital marketing services that required minimal physical resources. We would implement automated systems to reduce the need for administrative staff. And we would leverage our existing client relationships to secure advance payments on long-term contracts. On Monday, we began implementing our plan. First, we sold much of our expensive office furniture to generate immediate cash. The sleek designer desks, ergonomic chairs, and high-end conference table that we had so proudly purchased when business was booming now became a valuable source of emergency funding. It was painful to watch these symbols of our success being carted away, but it provided us with enough money to cover immediate expenses. Next, Anna put her graphic design skills to work creating a viral marketing campaign for our own business. She crafted a series of attention-grabbing social media posts highlighting our most successful client campaigns, showcasing the measurable results we had achieved. The campaign cost us nothing but time, yet generated significant interest from potential new clients. We gave up our office space entirely, moving our essential operations to our apartment. Our dining room became our conference room, our spare bedroom transformed into a content creation studio with a simple green screen setup. It was far from ideal, but it cut our overhead costs by more than 60% overnight. The first real breakthrough came 3 weeks into our new strategy. A major local restaurant chain that had been hit hard by the economic downturn needed a way to boost their takeout and delivery business. They had approached several larger agencies but found their proposals too expensive and traditional. When they saw our social media campaign highlighting our performance-based pricing, they reached out. I spent hours preparing for that meeting, knowing this could be the client that saved our business. When I presented our innovative digital strategy focusing heavily on targeted social media ads and an enhanced online ordering experience, I could see their interest growing. When I explained our performance-based fee structure where we would only earn our full fee if their delivery orders increased by a specified percentage they were sold, they signed a 6-month contract that very day. To deliver on this contract and keep our remaining clients happy, Anna and I worked 18-hour days. We handled everything from strategy development to content creation to performance analysis ourselves with only minimal support from our remaining staff. It was exhausting but also deeply satisfying to see our efforts translating directly into client success. Despite our first big win, we still faced significant challenges. We needed more clients quickly to replace the revenue lost when Thomas called in our loan. I began an aggressive cold calling campaign reaching out to businesses that might benefit from our services in the current economic climate. For every success, I faced dozens of rejections. Each no stung, but I persisted, refining my pitch with each call. I understand you are not looking to increase your marketing budget right now, I would say, after receiving a rejection. Many businesses are cutting back. That is exactly why our performance-based model makes sense. You only pay the full amount if we deliver measurable results. Would you be willing to at least look at a proposal based on that structure? This approach began to open doors. Businesses that were hesitant to commit to traditional marketing contracts were intrigued by the idea of paying based on performance. Slowly, our client roster began to grow again. One of our most innovative solutions came from necessity. We could not afford to purchase the advanced analytics software we had previously used, so I spent several weekends developing our own simplified version. It was not as comprehensive, but it focused specifically on the metrics our clients cared about, most: conversion rates and return on ad spend. This proprietary tool became a unique selling point that distinguished us from competitors. About 4 months into our new strategy, an unexpected opportunity arose. A business journal was doing a feature on companies that had successfully pivoted during the economic downturn. One of our clients recommended us for the article, and a journalist contacted us for an interview. The resulting piece, titled "Phoenix Rising: How Horizon Digital Reinvented Itself," gave us exposure we could never have afforded to pay for. The article highlighted our innovative performance-based pricing model and our lean, digital-focused approach. After the article was published, our phone began ringing more frequently. Former clients who had reduced their marketing budgets reached out to discuss our new services. New clients who had read the article expressed interest in our approach. Our social media following grew, and our content began to be shared more widely within the local business community. The most significant impact came from word of mouth. Clients who saw real results from our campaigns told other business owners, and our reputation for delivering value during tough economic times spread. We became known as the agency that truly partnered with clients rather than just providing services for a fee. As we approached the 6-month mark of our new strategy, I developed a proprietary marketing analytics tool that gave us a significant competitive advantage. The tool combined data from various digital marketing platforms to provide a comprehensive view of campaign performance. It allowed us to make real-time adjustments to maximize results, something that larger, less agile agencies struggled to offer. This innovation caught the attention of one of our larger competitors. The CEO reached out directly, expressing interest in acquiring our analytics tool and possibly our entire business. They offered a buyout figure that far exceeded our previous valuation, even before the financial crisis. Anna and I sat in our living room that evening, stunned by the offer. The amount would not only allow us to repay Thomas's loan in full, but would leave us with a substantial profit. It was tempting, especially after the stress and exhaustion of the past months. We could take this money and start over with something new, Anna suggested. Something that would be completely ours from the beginning with no family complications. I considered it carefully. Or we could use this interest as leverage to attract other investors. We have proven our resilience and innovation. Maybe we do not need to sell. We spent the weekend discussing our options. The competitor's interest validated everything we had built, especially our recent innovations. It proved that Patricia had been wrong about us, about me. But I was not ready to give up on Horizon Digital. This was our creation, and we had fought too hard to save it. Let us talk to some investors, I finally decided. If this competitor sees our value, others will too. And this time we will choose partners who believe in us without family complications. Anna agreed. and we politely declined the buyout offer while leaving the door open for potential collaboration in the future. The competitor was disappointed but respected our decision. More importantly, they mentioned our conversation to a venture capital firm that specialized in marketing technology. Within weeks, we were in discussions with a venture capital firm that was impressed by our resilience and innovative approach. They offered to provide the funding we needed to expand further with terms that were actually more favorable than the arrangement we had with Thomas. The deal included resources to develop our analytics tool into a product we could license to other agencies, creating an entirely new revenue stream. We signed the agreement in early spring, almost exactly 1 year after Patricia had convinced Thomas to withdraw his support. The investment allowed us to move into a new office space, smaller and more efficient than our original location, but still professional and impressive. We selectively rehired some of our former employees and added new talent with digital expertise. Patricia learned about our success through social media. Anna had posted photos of our new office opening and tagged several business associates who were connected to her parents' social circles. Within days, Patricia called Anna, her tone dramatically different from our last interaction. "I heard Horizon is doing well," she said casually. "Your father and I were thinking of stopping by to see your new office. We are so proud of what you two have accomplished." Anna put the call on speaker so I could hear. "Are you proud, Mom? Because the last time we spoke about the business, you were convinced we were failing and that Skylar was misusing funds." There was a pause. "Well, every business has its ups and downs. I was just concerned as a mother. But clearly you have figured things out, and that is wonderful." The next day, Patricia showed up at our office uninvited. She walked around complimenting the design and asking questions about our new services as if she had been supportive all along. She even suggested that she had always believed in our potential, conveniently forgetting her previous actions. "It is amazing what you two have accomplished," she said, smiling broadly. "Thomas always said you had a good head for business, Skylar. I am so glad he was right." I exchanged glances with Anna, both of us stunned by Patricia's revisionist version of events. But rather than confronting her directly, I simply thanked her for visiting and suggested that we all have dinner soon to catch up properly. The time for confrontation would come, but not before we were fully ready. That evening, Anna and I had a long conversation about how to handle Patricia's sudden reappearance in our lives. We both recognized that simply cutting her out was not a realistic option given her central role in Anna's family. At the same time, we could not pretend that her betrayal had not happened or that the trust had not been severely damaged. "I think we need to have an honest conversation with both of my parents," Anna suggested. "My father deserves to know what really happened, and my mother needs to understand that she cannot just waltz back into our lives without acknowledging what she did." I agreed, and we decided to invite them to dinner at our home the following weekend. In preparation, I gathered all the original financial documents that we had shared with Thomas, along with copies of the altered versions that Patricia had shown him. The evidence of manipulation was clear when the documents were compared side by side. When Thomas and Patricia arrived for dinner, the atmosphere was tense, despite everyone's attempts at politeness. We made small talk through the appetizer, but as we sat down for the main course, Anna gently steered the conversation toward what we really needed to discuss. "Dad, before we go any further, there is something important you need to see," she said, sliding a folder across the table. "These are the original financial reports we provided to you last year, alongside the versions Mom showed you when she convinced you to withdraw your support." Thomas looked confused but opened the folder. He spent several minutes comparing the documents, his expression growing increasingly troubled. Patricia stiffened beside him but remained silent. "These figures have been altered," Thomas said slowly, looking up at his wife. "The withdrawals categorized here as personal expenses were actually legitimate business expenses. The dates and amounts have been changed." Patricia straightened her napkin, avoiding eye contact. "I was just trying to protect you, Thomas. That financial advisor I consulted said there were red flags." "What financial advisor?" Patricia Thomas asked sharply. "You told me it was someone reputable, but when I asked for his credentials later, you changed the subject." The conversation that followed was difficult but necessary. Thomas expressed genuine remorse when he realized how Patricia had manipulated him and the damage it had caused our business. He apologized repeatedly to both Anna and me for not verifying the information independently before taking such drastic action. "I should have trusted you both," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I let Patricia's concerns cloud my judgment instead of looking at the facts and your track record. I am truly sorry." Patricia initially tried to justify her actions, claiming she was just being protective of family assets. But as the evidence of her deliberate manipulation became undeniable, her defenses began to crumble. "You never thought I was good enough for Anna," I said quietly. "From the beginning, you looked for ways to prove I was using her for money or connections. But the truth is, I love your daughter, and together we built something valuable that helps other businesses succeed. You almost destroyed that out of prejudice." Patricia looked away, tears forming in her eyes. For the first time, I saw vulnerability beneath her controlled exterior. "I was wrong," she finally admitted, her voice barely audible. "I was jealous of your relationship, of how happy Anna was with you, of the success you were building together. I felt like I was losing my daughter." This tearful admission surprised all of us. It did not excuse her actions, but it helped us understand the insecurity that had driven her behavior. The conversation continued late into the night, with difficult truths being acknowledged on all sides. By the time Thomas and Patricia left, we had reached a fragile understanding, the first step toward healing the family rift. In the weeks that followed, I struggled with forgiveness. Part of me wanted to maintain the distance that had developed between us and Patricia to protect ourselves from future manipulation. But I also recognized that holding on to anger would only continue to harm our family relationships and possibly our marriage in the long run. After much reflection, Anna and I decided to establish clear boundaries with Patricia while working to rebuild our relationship with Thomas. We would not cut Patricia out of our lives, but we would be cautious about sharing sensitive business information. We would maintain professional agreements with Thomas for any future business dealings with proper contracts and terms rather than informal family arrangements. The confrontation with Patricia had been necessary, but I took no pleasure in seeing her reduced to tears or forced to admit her jealousy. The true victory was not in exposing her manipulation, but in the fact that we had succeeded despite her attempts to undermine us. Our business was now stronger than ever, built on a more innovative model and backed by investors who truly believed in our vision. The healing process was gradual. We focused primarily on growing our business and strengthening our marriage, which had been tested but ultimately fortified by the crisis we had weathered together. The stress and long hours had taken a toll, but we had discovered new depths to our partnership, both professional and personal. Thomas approached us about becoming an investor again, this time with proper contracts and business terms. After careful consideration, we accepted his offer, allowing him to purchase a small equity stake in our expanded company. His business expertise remained valuable, and rebuilding this relationship was important to Anna. Patricia remained at the periphery of our business discussions, gradually earning back small measures of trust through consistent, supportive behavior. As I reflected on the journey we had taken, I realized that the crisis forced us to create a much more innovative business model than we might have developed otherwise. Our performance-based pricing structure, lean digital operations, and proprietary analytics tool had all emerged from necessity. In trying to break us, Patricia had inadvertently pushed us to become stronger and more successful than before. My relationship with Anna deepened through our shared struggle and triumph. Facing potential failure together and emerging successful had created a bond that casual comfort never could. We had seen each other at our most vulnerable and our most determined, and our respect for each other had only grown. One of the most meaningful outcomes of our experience was the mentorship program we created for struggling entrepreneurs. Having faced near catastrophic failure ourselves, we understood the emotional and practical challenges of building a business in difficult circumstances. We began offering free monthly workshops and one-on-one mentoring to small business owners facing similar challenges, sharing the lessons we had learned. Our approach to family relationships also evolved. We established healthy boundaries that protected our marriage and business while still maintaining connections. Sunday dinners at Thomas and Patricia's house became a monthly rather than weekly occurrence. Business discussions were kept separate from family gatherings. When Patricia occasionally slipped into her old patterns of criticism or control, Anna and I had developed a united strategy for addressing it immediately but respectfully. Through this experience, I learned that sometimes the people who try to break you end up making you stronger. Patricia's attempt to prove I was not good enough forced me to discover capabilities I might never have known I possessed. The crisis she created became the catalyst for innovation and growth that ultimately led to greater success. Life does not always give us what we want, but sometimes it gives us what we need. We needed that push to break free from comfortable patterns and conventional thinking. We needed to be tested to discover our true resilience. And perhaps in her own misguided way, Patricia needed to see that her daughter had chosen a partner who would stand firm even when everything seemed to be falling apart. The unexpected gift of adversity is that it reveals your true strength. When everything is stripped away, when support systems fail and the path forward seems impossible, you discover what you are truly capable of. In that moment of clarity, when I refused to let Patricia's schemes defeat us, I found a reservoir of determination I never knew I possessed. Have you ever had someone try to prove you would fail, only to find their doubt became your greatest motivation? Tell me about your own comeback story in the comments below. And if this story of resilience resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that sometimes our greatest setbacks lead to our most meaningful growth. Thank you for listening, and remember, the people who doubt you the most are often the ones who will witness your greatest triumph.